Hi friends! Today I have a project for you that features something I call watercolor stamping with acrylic blocks. It's actually a super easy way to get unique watercolor backgrounds with acrylic blocks and ink pads. So I'm using two different papers today, and one is the glossy white cardstock and the other is shimmer white, and it comes out a little bit differently with each of these papers, but it's a beautiful effect either way. So just to forewarn you, every project is going to come out different, completely unique, and you can control it only to a certain degree. So this is an opportunity to just kind of let go and get creative. So here's one of the cards that I created for my club, and that one was done on the glossy cardstock. So I have four different colors in front of you, but I'm only going to use two out of actually three out of the four. I'm going to focus on using the blues and the purples. I have done some versions that also included the greens, which are really pretty. When you do that, though, you risk mixing the colors, getting one ink color onto the other ink pad as well, etc. So anyway, so as you can see, I've taken the ink pad and just the balmy blue, one of the new ones, and covered just one corner of the acrylic block. And I got lots of nice juicy blue ink there, and so I was happy with that. But when I went in with my next color, the Highland Heather, which is also a new color, found that there wasn't really enough color coming out of the ink pad, so it needed to be re-inked, so that's what I just did. So now I'm going to go in again, and you'll see a lot more colors coming off of that ink pad. So now I'm coming in with another new color called Gorgeous Scrape, and just going to outline the block a little bit to get some darker, deeper, richer color along the edge. So you'll want to have paper towels handy for this, because you are going to use some water to spray, and I like to spray maybe 4 to 6 times, and it's kind of a balancing act. You don't want too much water because it'll get too watery, but you don't want too little because then, especially with the shimmer white cardstock, the ink will get sort of stuck on the paper. It won't move around and give you that watercolory look. So I'm bringing a colored piece of just regular old paper in here because doing the stamping on this piece of white is a whole lot easier when you have the colored background in behind, and that's because the size of the acrylic block is only just a bit smaller than the size of the paper. So it's designed so that there's going to end up being a white edge at the top and a white edge at the bottom only. But in order to be able to see where you're positioning the block, it's just a whole lot easier to have it on a green piece of paper than on a white piece of paper. So I'm contemplating going in and stamping that again, because you can do that since I have that little white splotch right in the middle, and I've just decided I kind of like the way it looks even with that white open spot, so I'm just going to leave it as is and not mess with it. So I wanted to show you another example of doing this on the shimmer white cardstock. So I've already inked up the block, as you can see here, and I sprayed it with my water, and I did use quite a bit more water on this one than on the last one, so after I pull it off you'll be able to see how it looks different as a result. So check out how the colors are mixing and blending as I move that block, and then when I remove it I get this cool linear watercolory look. I just love it. So it's handy to have paper towels around so you can dab off any excess ink, and to make sure you don't get droplets of ink and color where you don't want them. So I have given it some time and allowed those two focal pieces to dry. You definitely want the focal pieces to be completely dry before you assemble the card. So I have one piece of that, the small piece of Highland Heather, and I'm going to tear that piece in half, and I'm using my fingers to control the tear line, so you can make it as sort of straightish as you like, or you can vary it so that it's much more uneven, so it's up to you. I've gone sort of on the straightish side, and now I'm going to mask where the line is on my focal piece, and I'm getting ready to do my stamping. So I used the black StazOn in this particular project because of the glossy cardstock mostly. I figured the black StazOn would work better with the slick surface of the glossy cardstock better than any other ink. So I'm now, of course, stamping on the shimmer white cardstock, which you could use Memento or StazOn for this particular surface. So I like to stamp those main focal pieces first and then do the sentiment image. The sentiment image comes from the Itty Bitty Greetings stamp set, and there's tons of great images in there to use. I just love the With Gratitude because I think there's so many applications for that, and I have so much to be grateful for and to thank people for. So when I attach my Highland Heather pieces, I like to put some adhesive on the focal piece on the edge and also on the edge of the Highland Heather piece, just to make sure that it really sticks well in behind. And I could have used one piece and torn it on both edges instead, but this way not only do I save paper, but it's a lot easier to gauge the sizing of the edge, because I can just line it up like you see me doing here and show as much of that torn edge as I desire. So once my edges are on exactly as I want, I just checked the sizing to make sure I was still going to be able to see that gorgeous scrape in behind. So you can't actually have a very large Highland Heather layer, otherwise you'll be covering up the gorgeous scrape in behind. And then I'm going to generously put a lot of dimensionals on the back here to make sure that it stays raised up really well. So now I'm just going to finish up with the final assembly on the card. So I hope you've enjoyed this technique. It's super easy and fun and quick. I've made several variations, color variations of this. I did this for my Alaska card swap, and I did a different color scheme altogether. So I hope you'll check those out on my blog. And this was also a club project and is a free card kit project as well. So check out all those details in the description below this video. And I hope you'll come back and visit me soon. Have a great day. Happy crafting.